blues fans, you found us, and we're really glad you did. It's time for another episode of This Week of the Blues. It's our weekly take on blues history. I'm your host, Jimbo Big Train Matson, with the blues band Big Train and the Loco Motives. We're your favorite blues nerds. So let's take a look and see what happened this week in blues history.
I happen to share a birthday with George Little Hat Jones, who was born on October 5th, but his was back in 1899. Now, this Texas blues musician was a street busker in the 1920s in San Antonio. Now, he dropped out of school at the age of 13 to support the family farm after his father suffered an illness and crops were destroyed. The name Little Hat was acquired from a construction job in Garland, Texas, where Jones wore a hat with part of the brim torn. He recorded two compositions, New 2/16 Blues and Two-String Blues, released as a single by OK Records on June 15th in 1929. That same day, he played guitar on 9 tracks with Alger Texas Alexander in the OK studio. Blues singer Pearl Dixon may not have left behind a thick catalog, but the few tracks she recorded made her a fascinating, if shadowy, figure in Memphis and country blues. Born in Somerville, Texas on October 5th in 1903, she stepped briefly into the spotlight on December 12th in 1927 when she recorded 4 songs for Columbia Records in Memphis with guitar players Malin and Richard Hacksaw Harney. Little is known of her life outside of this fleeting recording session. Now, her lyrics provide intriguing clues into the mindset of her generation. In the song Little Rock Blues, she sang, "I started to heaven, but changed my mind. I'm going to Little Rock, where I can have a better time." Blues piano player Sammy Price was born October 6th in 1908 in Honey Grove, Texas. Although Price's style was steeped in the barrel house blues tradition, his first musical exposure came from church. Now, later on, he took lessons from Professor Cobb at Waco, Texas, who bluntly told young Sammy he had no talent. Well, fortunately for us, Price ignored him, picked up the piano, and never looked back. By 1927, Price was touring on the Theater Owners Booking Association circuit. He hit Kansas City in 1930, leading the house band at the Yellow Front Cafe, then moved on to Chicago and Detroit before landing in New York City in 1937. Blues guitar player and singer Mel Brown was born October 7th, 1939 in Jackson, Mississippi. He is best remembered for his decade-long backing of Bobby Bland. Although in his own right, Brown recorded over a dozen albums between 1967 and 2006. Mel Brown was presented with his first guitar as a teenager while recovering from a bout of meningitis. By 1955, after performing backing duties for both Sonny Boy Williamson and Jimmy Beasley, Brown had a 2-year-long stint backing Johnny Otis. This led to work with Etta James, where he swapped his Gibson Les Paul for an ES-175 to give him a richer, fuller tone to his guitar work, and that set him apart from his contemporaries. Blues musician and instrument maker Lonnie Pitchford was born October 8th in 1955. Now, he was notable in that he was one of only a handful of young African-American musicians from Mississippi who had learned and was continuing the Delta blues and country blues traditions of the older generations. Now, in addition to the acoustic guitar and electric guitar, Pitchford was also skilled on the diddley bow, a 1-string instrument of African origin, as well as the double bass, piano, and harmonica. He was a protege of Robert Lockwood Jr., from whom he learned the style of Robert Johnson. On October 8, 1969, B.B. King recorded The Thrill Is Gone, and is often considered the record that crossed B.B. King over into the pop market. While he had other entries in the pop charts dating back to 1957, no B.B. King record had ever reached the pop chart peak of The Thrill Is Gone. Its success boosted King to another level of the entertainment industry, as he soon became a familiar face on television and in concert halls around the world. Electric blues guitar player Johnnie Bassett was born October 9th in 1935. He grew up with blues music all around him in his native Florida. His unique ability to combine jump blues and delta stylings gave his playing a distinctive sound. The self-taught guitarist recalled seeing Tampa Red, Arthur Big Boy Crudup, and other classic blues artists at fish fries in his grandmother's backyard. After Bassett's family moved to Detroit in 1944, he made his debut as a guitarist with Joe Weaver and the Blue Notes, a teenage R&B band. The group won local talent contests, and he was hired to back up Big Joe Turner, Ruth Brown, and others on their tour stops in Detroit. Blues singer Ivory Joe Hunter was born October 10th in 1914. He was billed as the Baron of the Boogie and also known as the happiest man alive. Hunter was a prolific songwriter, and some estimate he wrote more than 7,000 songs. His musical output ranged from R&B to blues, boogie-woogie, and country music. Uniquely, he was honored at both the Monterey Jazz Festival and the Grand Ole Opry. Bluesman and civil rights leader Wade Walton was born October 10th, 1919. His fame comes from his barbershop, and he counted many famous musicians among his friends, colleagues, and customers. Walton played in the Kings of Rhythm with Ike Turner, but stayed in Clarksdale, Mississippi, working as a barber when Turner took the group national. Many musicians and other notable people patronized Walton's barbershop to play music with him or an homage, including Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Sonny Boy Williamson, and Allen Ginsberg. Delta blues singer and guitar player Mississippi Joe Callicott was born October 10th, 1899, in Nesbit, Mississippi. Although his early recording career resulted in only 2 songs issued in 1930, Joe Callicott is often regarded as one of Mississippi's finest early bluesmen. His guitar work was also featured with local bluesman Garfield Akers on Cottonfield Blues, a classic 1929 single that illustrated how blues developed from field hollers. In the late 1960s, Callicott recorded more extensively for folklorists and served as a mentor to Nesbit guitarist Kenny Brown. Harmonica Frank was born October 11th in 1908 in Topicola, Mississippi. He was the son of itinerant parents who separated without giving him a name. He was raised by his sharecropping grandparents who died while he was a teenager. He taught himself to play harmonica, and when he was 10 years old, he eventually learned guitar. He gave himself the name Frank Floyd and began performing in the 1920s for traveling carnivals and medicine shows. Before we wrap things up, we have some new music to tell you about. Now, the first is a release from Delmark Records. Chicago legend Jimmy Burns teamed up with Chris Foreman's Soul Message Band. The result is a 10-track album titled Full Circuit. Now, in it, Jimmy Burns revisits some of his 1960s Chicago soul songs that he recorded as 45s for a variety of labels. It's a really nice concept album that includes not only music from the start of his career, but also some of his personal favorites. Another new release is the Zach Schultz Gang on Germany's Rough Records, titled Straight to It. Now, if you haven't heard them, they are a guitar-centric power trio that's put plenty of time in on the road, but also on some big festival stages as well. It's available digitally now, and physical copies will be available in Europe and the US at different times over the next few months. Go on to Rough Records' website for all the details. All right, blues fans, we just covered some of the highlights here. Now, if you want to know more about these artists or the other things that happened this week in the blues, and there's a lot of them, be sure to follow our social media pages or visit our website at bigtrainblues.com. Now, we'll have a new episode next week, and we'll talk about Delta blues guitarist Big Joe Williams and Mississippi Hill Country blues guitarist and singer Jessie Mae Hemphill. It's going to be a great show, so we'll see you then.